The city lights glow soft and golden as Taehoon walked beside Jimin and Yoongi, his lecture carrying in the air. It was the first Friday night of the semester and Jimin and insisted they go out to celebrate. Taehoon had protested at first, saying he wants to settle into his class, but somehow Jimin always won these small battles. Jimin, come on, Tae, you've been locked in your room since we moved in. Tonight, you are going to enjoy yourself, Taehoon said, pulling his jacket tighter. Taehoon, I don't know, Jimin. I feel nervous. New class, new people. It's just a lot. Yoongi walked calmly with his hand in his pockets, gave a small smile. Yoongi, that's exactly why you should begin. Sometimes a night out clears the head. They reached a bar with soft music, more cagey than warm. The place smelled faintly of coffee and with shells of books scratched along the walls. It wasn't noisy, and that made the home relax. Inside, the three found a booth. Jim ordered drinks while Taehoon sat quietly, his eyes wandering around. That's when he noticed him at the far corner. A young man sat alone with a book in one hand and a glass in the other. His black hair framed his face perfectly, and his sharp jawline cast in the dim light. He looked serious, yet there was something inviting about him. Taehoon whispering to Jimmy, who's that? Jimmy glanced over and surrounded Jimmy. Don't know why. Do you think he is handsome? Taehoon looked down quickly, his cheeks warm. Taehoon, I didn't say that. Yoongi chuckled softly. Yoongi, you don't have to. Your face said it for you. They laughed. But Taehoon's eyes wandered back to the stranger again and again. After a while, when Jimin and Yoongi went to greet someone, other friends near the Taehoon was left at the table alone. That's when the man from the corner appeared. Jungkook, it is seat taken. Taehoon frozen. The voice was deep, smooth, and confident. He shook his head quickly. Taehoon, no, it's not. Jungkook sat down, placing his glass carefully on the table. His eyes met Taehoon, and Taehoon felt his heartbeat speed up. Jungkook, look like you didn't want to be here. Am I right? Taehoon blinked with surprise. Taehoon, how did you know? Jungkook smiled slightly. Jungkook, the way you were fighting with your jacket and the way you kept glazing around instead of enjoying yourself. Taehoon laughed nervously. Taehoon, you notice a lot, Jungkook. I read people it's a habit. For a while, silence filled the air between them, but it wasn't uncomfortable. Taehoon found himself drawn to the calm presence Jungkook carried. He wasn't loud like others in the bar. He was quiet but sure. Taehoon, hi, I'm Taehoon. Jungkook, it's Jungkook. They shook hands. Jungkook's hand was warm, firm. Taehoon felt a speed he couldn't explain. Hours slightly by minute. Jimin and Yoongi occasionally come back to check on him, only to smirk at how deep in conversation Taehyung was. Jungkook spoke about books, about music, about the city at night. Taehyung found himself laughing more than he had in weeks. Taehyung, I can't believe you read poetry in this place. Jungkook softly, Jungkook, why not? Don't have to be loud to be enjoyed. Sometimes quiet corner tell better stories. Then look at him, cause in the way his words sound so natural, he realized he hadn't thought once about his worries, his new classes, or the stress of starting college. He only thought about this man in front of him. Jimin returned to the table. Grin, Jimin, Tae, we are going to another place with Yoongi. You staying here? Taehyung hesitated, glancing at Jungkook. Jungkook's eyes didn't leave his for a reason he couldn't explain. Taehyung nodded. Taehyung, yeah, I'll stay a bit longer. Jimin gave a teasing smile before leaving. Jimin, don't do anything crazy, okay? Once they were gone, the quiet of the bar wrapped around them again. Jungkook leaned in slightly. Jungkook, do you trust me? Taehyung blinked at the sudden questions. Taehyung, I don't know. I just meet you. Jungkook smiled frankly. Jungkook, fair answer, but sometimes trust started small. Taehyung felt his chest grow warmer again. The closeness, the weight of Jungkook's gaze, it was overwhelming, yet gentle. When Jungkook suggested they take a walk, Taehyung agreed. The night air was cool, brushing against their skin as they walked side by side down the quiet streets. They spoke about their dreams, their fears, the little things that made them who they were. Taehyung was surprised at how easy it felt. Then I usually don't open up this quickly. Jungkook looked at him softly. Jungkook, maybe you just needed someone to listen. Something in Taehyung's chest edged at those words. He didn't want the night to end, and maybe Jungkook didn't either, because soon they found themselves standing close, silence filling the space between their breaths. Taehyung, this feels strange but good. Jungkook, it feels right. Their hands pressed, and before Taehyung could think twice, Jungkook leaned forward, pressed his against his softly. It wasn't rushed or demanding, it was slow, questioning, as thought asking for permission. Taehyung closed his eyes and him back. The two fed only the quiet night, the cool breeze, and Jungkook excited. What happened after was a blur of emotions Taehyung couldn't fully name. They ended up in Jungkook's apartment, guided more by closeness than reason. It wasn't wild or hurt, but careful, filled with hesitated touch and whisper word. Taehyung had never let anyone this close before, but with Jungkook, it felt safe. When the morning light flicked through the curtains, Taehyung woke up to find Jungkook still asleep beside him. His heart realization crashed down. This wasn't just anyone, this was a stranger he had given so much for himself too. Quietly, Taehyung slipped out of the bed, put on his clothes, and left. He didn't leave a note. He didn't look back. As he walked back towards campus, the cold morning air stunned his skin. He tried to tell himself it wasn't just a night that he would forget. But deep down, Taehyung knew this night would follow him for a long time. A week later, Taehyung sat in the lecture hall, notebook ready. His thought were this still messy. Jimin poked his side playfully. Jimin, don't be nervous. It's just the first lecture. Taehyung, I know. I just want to do well. Students suffer in the lecture. The teacher fled the room. Then the door opened and footsteps echoed. Taehyung looked up. The man who walked in wore a sharp suit, his expression serious, his presence commanding. He placed his note on the lecture, adjusting the microphones. When he lifted his eyes, they met Taehyung's. Taehyung breathed in his throat. His pen slipped from his finger. It was Jungkook. Jungkook, good morning. I am Professor Jian. Welcome to English lecture. Taehyung would spoon. The stranger from that night wasn't just a memory. He was his professor. And Jungkook thought his face remained composed ever so slightly when his eyes on Taehyung. The classroom was filled with whispers and the scratches of pen as Jungkook's voice carried steady thought in the air, but Taehyung couldn't focus on a single word. His heart still hammered in his chest from the moment he saw him. Professor Jian, Jungkook, the same man he had spent a night with 2 weeks ago. The same man he had tried to push out of his thought. Taehyung kept his head down. Notes he didn't even understand. He felt Jungkook's eyes on him once, maybe twice, but he refused. He refused to look up. After class, when students began filling out, Jungkook called out casually, Jungkook, Mr. Kim, can I speak with you for a moment? Taehyung frozen. Every part of him screamed to run. He gathered his book quickly, mumbled something under his breath, and walked right past Jungkook without stopping. Jungkook turned slightly, pulling together as he watched Taehyung walk away. Jin standing outside the lecture hall, nudging him lightly. Jin, what's wrong? You look distracted in there. Jungkook, nothing, just a student. Jin raised an eyebrow but didn't push further. For next 2 weeks, Taehyung did everything to avoid him. He sat at the back of the lecture hall, left quickly before Jungkook could reach him, and even turned down Jimin's invitations to stay after class. Jimin noticed the change. Jimin, Tete, are you acting weird? Did something happen with the professor? Taehyung shook his head quickly. No, it's nothing. I just want to focus on studying. Youngie sitting nearby gave him a long look. Youngie, you are pale, Taehyung. You should rest more. 2 weeks later, the morning sun flicked into Taehyung's room. As he sat over his desk, he pressed a head against his forehead. His body felt heavier than usual, his stomach unsettled. For days, he had been a wave of notions that came and went at strange times. He had brushed it off at first, blaming the cafeteria food or street from class, but it wasn't. Jimmy entered the room holding a small bag of bread. Jimin, here, eat something. Maybe you are just hungry. Taehyung shook his head. I don't feel like eating. Jimin, watching his friend closely. Jimin, you've been like this for days, and you've been more tired than usual too. Taehyung pressed a hand to his stomach, worry flashing across his face. Jimina, what if it's something else? Jimin titled his head, confused at first, but then his eyes widened slightly. He hesitated. Jimin, do you think? Silence fell between them. Taehyung's finger trembled slightly as he looked away. He didn't want to say it out loud. The possibility scared him more than anything. Later that evening, after class, Taehyung found himself standing in the small bathroom of his room with shaky hands. The small box he had brought sat on the sink. His reflection in the mirror saw his face, his nervous eyes. Taehyung whispering to himself, Taehyung, it can't be. It's just stress. But when he finally gathered the courage to take the test and saw the result, his breath caught in his throat. He felt weak. The two lines stared back at him, undeniable and clear, positive. Taehyung shook out the floor. The world is spinning around him. Taehyung, no, this can't be real. Tears welled up in his eyes as he hugged his knee. His mind raced back to that night. Jungkook's soft world, the warmth of his presence, and then the morning after when Taehyung had left thinking, now there was no moving on. This was real, too real. Meanwhile, Jungkook sat in his office late at night, flipping thought pages, but unable to his thought, he kept drifting back to Taehyung, the student who avoided him, the boy who wouldn't meet his eyes. Something about his pale face, the way he rushed out of the classroom, lighted in his mind. Jungkook closed his notebook, leaning back at his chair with a sigh. Jungkook, why? Why do I keep thinking about him? He didn't have the answer, but deep down, Jungkook knew this wasn't something he could ignore much longer. And Taehyung sitting alone in his dorm room with the positive test still in his hand. No, his life had just changed again for more than he was ready for. Taehyung sat at his desk in the lecture hall, his head feeling heavier than usual. His finger gripped his pen, but the words on the page blurred together. A wave of tenderness was over him, stronger than once he had been ignored for days. He tried to steady himself, but the room titled his vision. Jimin Tae, Jungkook was at his side in an instant, quicker than anyone else. His calm professor mask slipped, replaced by genuine concern. He knelt down and gently lifted Taehyung's head. Jungkook, Taehyung, can you hear me? Taehyung's lip parted weakly, but no words came out. His skin was pale, his breathing shallow. Jungkook turned to the student. Jungkook called the nurse now. Youngmi rushed out immediately while Jimin held close, his hands shaking. Jungkook arms support Taehyung carefully as he whispered again. Jungkook, stay with me. You will be fine. The informator smiled faintly on anticipate. Taehyung lay quickly on the bed, his chest rising and falling slowly. Jimin said nearby worry spreading across his face. Jungkook stood at the foot of the bed, arms crossed, his expression tense. Thought he tried to remain composed. Nurse, he seems to be suffering from perhaps state and lack of notions. He need rest. Jungkook nodded, his eyes never left Taehyung. Jungkook, thank you. I'll stay here. The nurse left the room, leaving only Jungkook, Jimin, and Taehyung. Jimin looked at Jungkook hesitantly. Jimin, Professor, I need to grab some things for him for the room. Can you watch him? Jungkook, of course. Go. Once Jimin was gone, silence filled the room. Jungkook moved to Taehyung's side, pulling the blanket up to his shoulders. He studied his sleeping face, the way his lashes brushed against his cheeks, the way he looked. So in that moment, something tightened in Jungkook's chest. Jungkook whispering softly, Jungkook, why? Why are you crying the burden alone? Taehyung? Later that evening, Jungkook carried Taehyung back to his room since the nurse said he needed proper rest. He moved carefully, unlocking the door with the spade key Jimin had handed him. The room was dim, quiet, smelling faintly of Taehyung's cologne. Jungkook lay him gently on the bed, pulling the blanket over him. As he turned to bring water, something caught his eyes, a small box half hidden on the desk. Curiosity made him pause. He reached out hesitantly, then opened it. Inside lay a test. The front line stared back at him, unshakable, positive. Jungkook hit pause. He frozen, the weight of the discovery pressing against him. His mind raced back to that night, the stranger in the bar, the laughter, the closeness, the way they had left without a word. And now the truth untucked before him. Jungkook sat down heavily on the chair, his hand gripping the desk. He looked at Taehyung sleeping from his heart in disbelieving and realization. Jungkook, Taehyung, it's mine. His voice was barely above a whisper, but the words hung in the air like a confession he hadn't prepared for. The night that had changed everything, that how returned to change their life forever. The room was quiet, the only sound Taehyung's soft breathing. Jungkook sat frozen in the chair, the positive taste still in his hand. His thoughts spun in every direction, but the truth remained steady. It was real, and it was his. Then a soft voice broke in the silence. Taehyung. Professor, Jungkook had snapped up. Taehyung's eyes fluttered open. Confusion flickered across his face as he saw Jungkook sitting there. Slowly he tried to sit up, but Jungkook quickly leaned forward. Jungkook, don't. You need rest. Taehyung looked at him, then his gaze fell on Jungkook's hand. His heart sank when he realized what Jungkook was holding. His beat caused and panic filled his chest. Taehyung, you were not supposed to see that. Jungkook was steady but softer than Taehyung had ever heard. Jungkook, Taehyung, why? Why didn't you tell me? Taehyung turned his face away, his finger clutching the blanket. Taehyung, because it wasn't matter. It's my problem. I can handle it. Jungkook shook his head firmly. Jungkook, no, it's not just yours. That night, it was both of us. This, he held the text gently. This is both of us too. Tears well in Taehyung's eyes. Taehyung, I thought you hate me, that you will see me as a mistake. Jungkook tightened as the trembling in his voice. He reached out, hesitated for a moment, then touched Taehyung's hand. Jungkook, you were never a mistake. Not that night, not now, not ever. Taehyung, look at him. Taehyung, but you are my professor. You shouldn't even care. Taehyung, Jungkook, I can because it's you. Because for that night I haven't been able to forget you. I try to keep it professional, but when I saw you faint today, I realized I don't want to keep distance anymore. Taehyung's lip trembled, his tears finally slipping free. Taehyung, I was so scared, Jungkook. Jungkook gently wiped the tears from his cheeks. Jungkook, you don't have to be scared anymore. We all face this together, you and me. Taehyung whispered. Taehyung, together? Jungkook nodded. His eyes steady. Together. Jungkook always week passed and thoughts, challenges came. They faced them side by side. Jimin and Younggi stood by Taehyung, offering comfort and laughter. And when they grew heavy, Jin and Jisoo gave Jungkook advice, reminding him he wasn't alone neither. Slowly, the fear in Taehyung's chest was replaced by warmth. One evening, as the sun blew, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, Jungkook walked with Taehyung through the campus garden. The air was hot, filled with the scent of flower. Jungkook, Taehyung, do you ever regret it? Meeting me that night? Jungkook stopped it, turning to face him. No, Jungkook, how could I regret that night that brought me to you, that brought us together? Taehyung's heart swelled as he spoke. He leaned closer, his voice quiet. Taehyung, You really mean it? Jungkook smiled softly, brushing Taehyung's hair back. Jungkook, I do, more than anything. In that moment, under the sky, Jungkook leaned on him. It was slow, gentle, filled with the promise of everything they had faced and everything they would face together. They hung him back, his arms wrapped around his neck, tears slipping down his cheeks, but this time they were happy tears. When they pulled apart, Jungkook whispered against his. Jungkook, this is just the beginning, our beginning. Taehyung smiled, his eyes steady for the first time in weeks. Taehyung, our beginning, and together, hand in hand, they step forward into future that thought uncertain was there, filled with hope, love, the promise of happiness. Jungkook, Kim Taehyung, from the night we met, I know there was something different about you. What started as a mistake became the most important part of my life. You are carrying our child, but more than that, you are carrying my heart, my dreams, my future. I don't want to walk another day without knowing you are mine, not just in love, but in every way. Will you marry me? Tears well in Taehyung's eyes, slipping down his cheeks. Really trembled as he tried to speak. Taehyung, Jungkook, yes, I'll marry you. Jungkook slid burden into his finger. Then he stood and pulled Taehyung into his arms. Taehyung clung to him, soothing softly against his shoulder. Taehyung, I thought you might not want this, might not want me. Jungkook, never think that. You are everything I want. You and our child. You are my forever. They then slow and full of promise. The settled sun gold light around them. Week later, the wedding day arrived. The ceremony was small but beautiful, held in a sunlight garden decorated with white rose and lavender rows of cheers, faces, small drop of soft fabric and flower. Close friends and family filled the seats. Jisoo wiped her eyes already. Jin smiled proudly, Jimin bouncing with excitement and Yoongi pretending not to tear up. Taehyung stood at the end of the aisle in the cream suit, his hand resting gentle on his stomach, his heart raced as music began to play. And then Jungkook appeared, raw, steady, dressed in a black suit that fit him perfectly, his hair neatly, his eyes looked on Taehyung. When he reached him, he looked Taehyung's trembling hand in his own, guarding him instantly. The officer began to speak, but for Taehyung and Jungkook, the words blurred. All they could hear was pounding after their hands and the sound of their breath. When it came time to go forward, Jungkook spoke first. Jungkook, Taehyung, you are my first thought every morning and my last prayer every night. I promise to stand by you in every storm, to laugh with you. I enjoy to hold you in every sorrow. I will love you not just today, for the rest of my life. Then tears flowed as he took a second breath. Young Jungkook, you walked into my life when I last expected it, and somehow you become my safe place. You love me even when I doubt myself, and you give me the courage of dreaming of a future I never thought I ever. Promise to love you with everything I am, and to walk beside you always. The opposite smile of sin with the power of rest in me. I now pronounce you husband, and husband you may. Jungkook didn't wait a second. He pulled them close on him gently at first, then deeper as the crowd entered the cheers and Jimin Youngie with a smile grin, Jesus sobbing and Jin with eyes with a handkerchief and laugh his tears when they fell apart and we really did it, Jungkook no laugh, we just began it. And they turned to face their family and friends, hands when shining in the light, the world seems bright, the future no longer uncertain, they filled the hope and love. That night as the stars blinkered the sky, Jungkook and Taehyung danced slowly breathed the glow of light. Therefore, I listened to me with him. Do you think we all be happy? Jungkook smiled and softly. Jungkook, we already are. And in that moment, surrounded by love, laughter, promise of tomorrow.